Gotcha.
All right, good. So we're just gonna get started. Hamed, do you want to start us off real quick?
I can start you off. So, welcome, ladies and no gentlemen, to the first episode of KTCG. So, I don't know if you guys know, KTCG stands for, keep the conversation going. And our mission is to basically, find topics that people don't really talk about or are uncomfortable to talk about, and especially like day to day situations. And so we try to pinpoint those hard hitting conversations and try to bring it into a group discussion so people can feel passionate about talking amongst their family, friends, maybe peers of different sorts, colleagues, bosses, whoever that may be. And so our mission is just to respect one another, don't bash people, and that means for the speakers as well, no hate speech, no like discriminative language or vernacular. We try to like keep everyone inclusive, but at the same time be straight with your, points.
So we can't say black men are trash.
I mean, we're diving into that topic, but you can't just be like black men are trash and you don't have like your
Explanation, gotcha.
explanation and stuff like that. So yeah, welcome to the first episode. We can wrap it up. Gemise has been thinking about this for a while, and it took us a while to like get everything organized. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I don't know.
Yeah.
The founder has something to say.
No, I mean, I'm just really appreciative that you guys agreed to come on the episode, and I honestly just can't wait to see where this conversation goes. The next episode after this is part 2, and you're still gonna want to tune into that one because it won't be females.
We'll do a part 2 with only guys, and they're gonna be sort of like reacting to your explanations and arguments. So if you guys can bring out any argument that you have, so we can make that second episode lit, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, a real punchline. All right, so Hamed, I think you should explain to them where you kind of thought of this topic. What ignited you to get this going?
So to basically be completely honest, we were thinking of like starting off with like police brutality and like more serious topics. But I feel like in order to get a more general view of our flow and how like we want to capture the discussion, I feel like more lighter, quote to say, conversations, especially about like between men and women or amongst men or amongst women, and like about social topics that we believe to be, almost petty, but it can really affect the lives of, Black people in general. So I feel like if we captured our discussion and capture our flow, that would make us tackle the more serious topics later in the future more effectively and thoroughly. So these social commentary topics would be important in terms of like seeing how people like to speak or their point of view and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Hamed came up with this great idea of talking about black men are trash. And so we're literally going to jump and start this conversation. So I'm going to ask the whole panel. It doesn't matter if you all want an answer or if some of you want to answer. In your opinion, what exactly does black men are trash mean?
And we can go popcorn style, or whoever would like to go first can go first. So you can raise your hand.
Can we just put out a disclaimer real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not sexist. I'm not misogynistic. And please don't take all of the things that I'm going to say today. Don't be offended, guys. But I am gonna, get some stuff off my chest. Thank you. But whoever want to go first.
Another disclaimer, right? So when we say like black men, we don't mean all, right? It's never like all. We know that like you guys have individual circumstances and all that. Like it's never all. Like we can't say the whole race. Okay. Another disclaimer.
Now, any disclaimer that you want to add on, or?
No, not really. I don't sugarcoat anything. So if it's honest, it's honest.
Okay. Mess with that. Who would
I
like
just want to hear it in your comment section and be like, not all men.
Lady A? She's been going off, and I don't really like her right now.
Don't worry, we'll be writing that down in the comment section.
All right, Zakia, would you like to start off?
Sure. So what exactly does black men or trash mean to me? I feel like it's just talking more so on like actions and behaviors of men or how they treat women. Yeah. That's kind of why or how I feel like the phrase was birthed. But like trash is something that's usually not good, dirty, or you no longer have value for it. So it's kind of funny that we're in a way saying, you know, we don't value black men because of A, B, and C or whatever experience women have been with or have encountered with black men. So I don't know. I guess that's kind of what it means to me. It's just more so on like behaviors, not you as a whole, but like what you like, how you treat, how you talk to women. I could speak in general on all women, but especially black women. It's just so funny that black men treat black women so crazy, and like you come from black women, like, but yeah, that's kind of what it means to me. It's just a funny phrase. I don't know. It's very funny to say. Okay. It's not like you dirty. Oh, you just look. Black men are dirty.
Yeah, I mean, but, you bring up an absolutely great point.
Anybody?
Yeah, but you know, anyone else want to jump in?
Who would like to go next in terms of like describing their idea of what black men are?
So I have to agree with that girl, Key. Just like what she said, like when something is not valuable to you, you put it in trash, right? If it doesn't bring you joy or happiness, or if it doesn't complement with what you're doing in life or what you need in life, you got to throw it out. If it's bad for you, you have to throw it out. And like she said, in certain situations and circumstances, the way that black men have treated black women, or even the whole black community, like we could include the LGBT community, all of that, the way they are treated, the way they are treated, like you treating us as we are not equal parts, right? Like, so.
Got you.
Thank you for that, Annie.
Janaya?
To me, it would be like black men are trash. Like, honestly, when you think of black men, you don't think of them being with black women or even, uplifting the black women. You always think of the man just, oh, I don't need black women. Oh, she's so bad. Like, she's so ghetto, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of like, if you're always being degraded by your own race and whatever other like opposite gender, you're going to be like, okay, well, they're trash. I'm not even going to talk to them. I'm not even going to try to associate with them. Yeah. And it's like the black woman always wants to uplift the black man, but it's completely different when you want the black man to uplift you. It's like kind of like, why should I uplift someone who doesn't want to uplift me, who doesn't want to see me do better? It's kind of like that. So why would I even associate myself with you or even try to say, oh, you know what? I love the black man. No, you don't, because guess what? They're trash. Plain and simple. So.
Okay.
Well, Naya, it's good that you kind of, brought us to that point. And I like that we're actually looking at the words that we're using in this language, right? So black men, and Zakia already went through into it, and she talked about the word trash. What does the word trash mean? And the way that we're equating that to black men in general, right? And so, yeah, we'll continue to talk about that, right? Because I don't think anyone has actually thought about those terms and really looked at what those definitions mean when you put them together, right?
But but in hindsight, do we really mean it? Like we say it like, oh, black men are trash, but do we really mean it? Because if they no longer hold value to us, why are we so mad about interracial relationships or couples? Like, so there's still something there that attracts us to black men, although at times we feel like they basura, garbage.
That's interesting for you Like that's an interesting point you brought up. I mean, for me, hearing that, like at first I was just like, okay, it doesn't really apply to me. But I had to really reflect on like whether or not I treated Black women the way that they say they've experienced in the past before. And I'm glad to say that I've never really had that particular behavior, but it always felt like I might one day be included in that like general term. And so I had to basically wonder and like discover what makes Black men in general like unvaluable, or like is it the way we are and the way we treat other people that we don't really agree with our ideologies or like our beliefs, or is it simply the way we just treat women, especially the women that look like us, the women that fight for us? Why do we choose to treat women the way we choose to? And I feel like it's interesting if we decide to like pick apart that maybe it's coming from like not having a father in our lives, or maybe it's like the way your father treated your mom. Maybe he beat her, maybe he talked down on her all the time, and then you internalized and probably maybe, okay, maybe this is how I get a girl in the future. I just have to be mean and disgusting, and like maybe that attracts me, right? And so I would say the questions that we have for the rest of the podcast would delve into that type of, discussion. Yeah.
Um, just I'm gonna kind of like just put a something crazy out there, but it's funny that you say that. But because I was on Instagram, and I had came across like this post, and it was like, oh, it's scary how men treat you after they don't like you or attracted to you anymore. So we're talking about how, some Black men and how their behaviors and how they talk to us, etc. Like we don't see the value in that, but why do men treat women like trash once they no longer see value in them?
Okay. Is that your question for like right now?
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there, but
For me, I would see maybe it's like there has to be, especially comparing to that, I would say man, right? His ego is probably overbearing. And like he's been surrounded by his boys that's been telling him, bitch is this, bitch is that. And like if we don't see women as equals, I feel like that fuels that type of behavior. So like you obviously have to imagine a woman is lower than you if you're gonna go ahead and proceed. Oh, like I don't like her. Well, I gotta treat her. You know, maybe that comes from a place of jealousy or a place of like, I don't know, just complete disregard because maybe he's never been told that that's not the way you treat women in the first place.
Yeah, that's right.
look at
That's a
you,
nice reaction.
look at my Black brother out here, you know, standing up and representing for the Black Kings.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Anybody else? Would anybody else like to chime in about Zakia's question? I don't know, Janine.
If not, it's okay because Naya brought us into a nice segue when she already started to discuss her stance on Black men are trash, right? And so we're just going to open the floor right now, and this is a part of our disclaimer, right? This is how you feel, and that's fine. Your stance on this: do you actually believe that Black men are trash or not, or are you in the middle? Are you smack in the middle? And
Is that a question for all? Sorry.
yes, of course.
No, I don't believe that Black men are trash.
Hmm.
I cannot believe that Black men are trash. Like I can't say that because it's gonna sound corny, but like I know a lot of Black men that do protect Black women
Mm-hmm.
that are definitely not trash. I'm gonna have a Black son, and I refuse to be like, well, in the future, of course. Not now, but I know like in the future I might have a Black son, and I would never say my Black son is trash.
Mm-hmm.
Just like my Black daughter is trash, because I do believe that like words come into like actuality, right? So if like people have constantly tell you that you are trash, you're gonna start believing that you are trash, right? So like I totally don't agree that Black men are trash. I believe that media portrays, yes, as Black men as being trash and not being like loyal, not having like the characteristics that we want to see in men that we date and raise, right? Like the loyalty, being providers. I'm not saying like you have to provide everything, but being capable of providing, protecting my physical and emotional being, my mental well-being, like that's part of it. And I do see potential as Black men as a whole that they can do it. But I do know that it's a lot of obstacles that prevent y'all from doing it, right? So y'all not trash sometimes, but not completely.
The champions that be on Instagram and Facebook saying Black men don't cheat will definitely agree with you. You know, they made shirts and everything now. They be going hard. Annie makes some great points. I'm kind of in the middle though, but more so towards no, because like Annie mentioned, like I have Black brothers, I have Black cousins, Black family that's males, you know, Black dad. So, but I do feel like just Black men's behavior is very trash-like. But we have to ask ourselves, like, where does this learned behavior stem from? And kind of going back to what Hamed was saying, like not having that father figure or seeing just that toxic behavior from your father and your mother's relationship, things like that. So unfortunately, it can be portrayed that, oh, this man is just trash in his actions or whatever case may be. But we have to also push, like, a lot of Black men do protect women. Like, they do nourish and uplift women. So there's kind of, it's like 50-50 for me.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for that.
Naya, you take us away, and then I'll say my splurge.
Okay. I'm kind of like Zakia. Oh, should I say that? Oh God. Okay, let me take that back. I agree with her, but it's just like, for me, I've grown up around not a lot of men, but the men I've grew up around, it's kind of hard for me to believe that they aren't trash, because most of them have become trash. Like, it's just the behavior. Like, you can treat me good, but the next female that you see outside, it's like, oh, she's a different story. Like, she's still Black. I don't care what no one says. If she's a Black woman, I should be treated the same exact way. That's just that. As for like father figures, that's also hard. Like, for me, I don't have a real father figure. I mean, I do, but it's not my real father. So it's kind of hard for me to even think of a man treating me right if my own father couldn't even treat me right or treat my mother right. So yeah, some aren't trash, but for me, it's like in this generation, it's hard for me to even believe that there are real men growing up with real fathers, with real mothers, teaching them how to maneuver through the world and just how to treat people in general. Like, it's not just Black women, but to just treat people in general, like, as human beings. It's kind of hard for me to even see that happening. So yeah.
Can I chime in really quickly? Because Naya definitely brings up a great point about just how some men like have this understanding, like, oh yeah, you're good, I could treat you well, but some random or some other female on the street, I can't. And just stemming from, like, I have male friends that exhibit this kind of behavior. You're like, oh, Key, you cool, you my sis, and then the way that they talk or degrade other women, it's just like, oh, I'm sorry, bro, I'm gonna have to put you in your place. Like, if that's how you think of that woman, like, I can only imagine what you really think of me.
I think you both bring up like great points, and I'm glad Zakia. Yeah, sorry, I'm just gonna do that. I'm glad that
you know each other, y'all.
Yeah. But I'm glad you check your male friends, because we all need to start doing that. We all need to start checking our friends. Like, as soon as they say anything like negative about Black women or degrade Black women, check your friend quickly. Like, you can't be silent about that. But I'm glad you brought up that point. Because we do that as women too. Like, we are able to compartmentalize like good men, bad men in our lives. Just like our male friends, like, oh, you're not like that hoe over there or that over there. You're different, right? Always like you're a different type of Black woman. But no, like Black women have many identities, right? We are complex. We are not all one thing. Like we all don't fit into this one category. Yes, I might want to like twerk, but also I have a degree. You know what I mean? Like we are complex. Right? Like
amen to
Yeah,
that.
of course.
so we need to
For real.
we need to start checking our male friends. Just like we have, I'm gonna put in this, check your white friends too.
Yeah.
Like if a white person is like, you're not like that other Black people, you're not like that other Black person, you check that, right? So we need to bring that same energy into the Black community too. Like you're not like the other Black woman, check it. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Like I can turn up and still be intelligent. Like I don't understand. Like I can use my ebonics and still go into a courtroom and slay, or that conference room and slay. Like, so check your friends, because it starts with us. It really does.
Yeah.
Okay, you could go on, Gemise. Sorry.
No, you that was awesome. Like you just took the conversation
saying amen in the back.
For real. All right. We clapping, we snapping, clapping. We just making music back here.
Yeah.
But all of you know I'm related to Janai. That is my sister. That's dear to my heart. And you know, she brought up the whole fact about just being raised around Black men who are not exhibiting the behaviors that we would expect, right? And I hold people to very high standards, especially my family. You know what that means? And so when she brings up the point of a father figure, like we've been raised by our single mother since now, even now, like that's just how it's been. And so when we see that, you know, your father did these things, and how can you possibly find someone that's going to actually do the things that you need them to do, right? It's like, this is where it's learned from. Like in my brain, I've already been disappointed. I've already been shown what it means to have a Black man who is trash in their family, right? Like that is the initial reactor right there, because that's your first reaction with a man when you're born. That is your father. And then it's like, I can honestly say my brother, not the best at what he does, but that is also another exhibitor, right? And then you can also come to the fact that I have a great uncle. Y'all have met him. That man will go through hell and high water for anything for me and Naya. So like, then I have this nice, beautiful exhibition of like, this is what it means to be like the beautifulness of a Black man, right? And then it just goes into your relationships. So that's another aspect of it, right? The people that you give your body to and the people that you allow to come into your love life, that is also an important part of it, right? I don't remember any Black man that I've let into my life that I have not been disappointed. Just the fact that, you know, I went into relationships and obviously that wasn't the best thing ever, because that just continued to basically flourish the idea in my head that Black men are trash. Meeting Hamed, he totally changed that like framework. And I mean, not to say that I didn't give up on that aspect of that Black men can be what they need to be, right? Show people their true worth. But he actually made that foundation of that idea in my head just completely disappear, right? So I guess it also does stem from, right, the experience that you have with your family, the experiences that you have in relationships, and just the experiences that you have in general. Like those will alter the way that you think about Black men being trash, right? And you bring up some wonderful points about, you know, just checking your friends. I mean, I used to have a lot of male friends in high school, right? And they told me some stories. Like you wouldn't imagine. This one guy was like, yeah, you know, I've had sex with over like 100 females. What? I don't care about your body count. I just want to know how you treated these women during that process and after that process. Because when you do something to them, that also makes an impact on the next person that they're with, right? And that's how their brain is evolving. And then they're talking to their friends and they're like, oh, well, yeah, he did this to me. He did, man, girl, leave him alone. Like, he's just trash. You see? And then they start giving you that language. So it's like, we do need to check these people. We need to, as soon as you cannot stay silent. That's the problem. We're not speaking up enough. You have to, no matter how embarrassed, how wrong it may sound in the moment, you need to say something, because when you let it go, we get these types of conversations and it keeps happening and happening, right? And so I'm glad you guys brought up these wonderful points. And Annie, I'm ready to see about, you know, opening up and telling these white men too, you know, I mean, because they want to date us, right?
I kind of want to chime in a little bit too. Like, Jem, you definitely make a great point about like just how we have perceived Black men from our interactions with them as well as our own relationships with them, and just looking at being in their shoes as well, their interactions with other Black men, their relationships, etc. But I am sick of the ones that use it as an excuse as well, like, oh, no, dad wasn't there. Like, okay, but that's not going to always give you a pass of because you didn't have that father figure in your life that you could just do whatever. Like you could be out here wilding. Like, so yeah, definitely checking that kind of behavior too. It's like, okay, you just want to be toxic at that point.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that because I do feel like even like as Black women, we do use like past traumas as a way to like make excuses on how we treat Black men or even each other, right? And I'm all for breaking traditional and culture curses.
Yeah.
So if we as a collective, like even on this panel, like we know like what it stems from, like how we are raised, like I was brought up in a single parent household too. Like my mom was Superwoman, of course, right? Right. But I wanna break that traditional curse in my household, in my family. Like you see it. So if you see it and recognize it, like it's up to you. Like you have the agency to like break that curse and break that norm. Like I am tired of like that excuse, like, oh, she has daddy issues, so like she can't trust anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's that goes on us as well, like
Right.
because of our or what we experienced in the past. Like we said the disclaimer earlier, like all men aren't the same, all Black men aren't the same.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't go into your next relationship. Of course, you're going to be, a little skeptical because of what you experienced, but you shouldn't just go and jump in your next relationship like, you're trash already. I can see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't bring all that weight.
Yeah.
But agreeing with Jim, just like my own personal relationships in the past with Black men had me sitting there like, damn. But I'm not gonna also be that bitter person, like, whatever. Like y'all all the same. Like I can't do that. That's not fair.
Yeah, of course. There's some wonderful men out there. Listen, you know what? A few of us probably on this panel probably met a good man in our life and we let him go. That's also the point. We were too attracted to something that we shouldn't have been attracted to, and we let them go. And
that's why. What?
Friends on it, Why are we friends on them?
We always friends on the ones that we should end up with, right? That's a damn shame.
That's part two. We're not talking about Black women. No.
Zakia, you got anything to add?
Speechless over there. Listen, I don't blame you. But yeah, it's real hard. How many you got anything to say? I mean, we've been talking, and we you got to represent the Black men out here.
Facts, you're the only one out here. You're the only one on the show today.
It's heavy right now. But I've been meaning. The only reason why, like, the main thing that influenced me to be more of a listener than a speaker was my dad. Like when I was, not many of you know this about me or may have, but my dad, when I was like between like from birth to 7, 8, like my dad like beat my mom. Like he was a wife beater, right? And so it got like bad really one day. Like he just got really angry one day. I forgot what it was. And it's from the way my mom explains those situations in that period of our life. It's always from like the little things like, oh, she wasn't acting right. Oh, when she was talking to me, she was chewing gum. Oh, she didn't really cook for like 3 days, and like I got like upset about that. My dad came from a really traditional household, and so beating women, like especially in the motherland, like where they came from in Africa, like it's not out of the norm, right? And so there can be a chance where any man can be influenced from his upbringing to feel like putting his hand on a woman is the right thing to do. But like seeing that, and then seeing the way my mom has dealt with that trauma throughout her life, that that pains me till this day. I don't think like it's something I ever got over. And yes, like they stopped fighting for like a while now, but like it's still things that I think about. And so using that childhood trauma slash experience, I just wanted to be different from my father. I didn't want to feel like it was okay to put my hands on a woman. Like even I started to say that like in elementary school. Luckily, and it was a young kid. Like I forgot. I don't know if we were close, but he was like, "Yo, you don't say that. Like women, you don't treat women like that." And we were in elementary school, so you guys talk about how you know keeping black men accountable for like the stuff you say is important, and him saying that at such a young age. When I reflected on that at like years later in my life, I was like, I wonder what that kid experienced, how healthy his family may have been for him to like check me, especially like back in the 2000s, like early 2000s. And that made me think about my life and like how the relationship between my mom and dad was like genuinely just pretty toxic. And so with that blueprint, I luckily had the uh the I just want to say courage to like challenge that and be like, maybe I should start breaking those traditional curses, as Annie put it, right? Stop the ideology of like you should put your hands on a woman right then and there with my line of like my future kids. Like I don't want to bring that at all within my family. And so how do I begin to go into that process of like realizing, yo, this is toxic or is this healthy, especially in a long-term marriage, right? And so when you guys mention how the men in your life really almost in a way dictate your environment of how like black men really treat women, like how do you guys feel like with that mindset, like say for instance Jamise and Naya kept that ideology in their minds? Well, I mean Naya's still going through it, but like is it an uphill climb for black men to prove to you that we're not all the way trash because you have that blueprint of like, okay, my dad treated me this way, my brothers, like most of the men in my life were like subpar, like just treated me terribly, right? And as you guys just brought up, like the good men that come into your life and want to actually be a part of it, and you guys just like push that to the wayside, is it because like you guys don't believe that black men can be, you know, beneficial to your lives or a positive influence? Or is it just like, do they have to go the extra mile to like prove to you that we are not the way you say we are? Especially with Jamise. Jamise had like I would say a wall in terms of like who she would let into her life, especially strangers, right? And so I, in the back part of my mind, I wanted to prove to her that, you know, not you've experienced this most of your life, but not all people are like this. And that was my main motivation to like basically break down that barrier and like try to, you know, figure out why she is the way she is. And this is even before I even thought of like dating her, right? This is just me wanting to be friends with her and like get to know her in the first place. But my question, like I just throw out there, is like, is it an uphill climb for black men to prove to black women that we can be better?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll speak for myself for this one, particularly. I say yes. Like it is an uphill battle for me, just based on my experience. It's like, damn, I kind of set the expectation, like if this person's gonna prove me wrong, pretty low, honestly. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get out of, because I know like that's just adding to the problem, right? And this is why we're having this conversation right now. So yeah, it's like, damn, like this person really has to prove themselves to me, or this male in particular has to prove himself to me. And that kind of stems from what you were saying. It's just like, you know, just things that we experience in our lives. Yeah, that was a great question.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
I have to agree with that. Definitely yes, because I feel like I'm gonna speak for myself. Growing up and where my mom was head of household and the only head of household, and I saw that she was independent, and like she always like taught me and raised me to be just as independent, because like my dad wasn't there, and like he would come in and out of my life, and I think like for her and us, like I realized that if someone is not there all the time, you're the only person you can really depend on is like you. It is you. Like you have to like if like your one source of income leaves your life, what happens, right? So I think like for me, I have like in the Black men I have dated, have put them through tests. Like I've tested them on their leadership. Like I've tested them that like, can I trust you? Like if I'm not able to do something, like would you come in and help me do something? And I have put like men through tests. Like just seeing like if they even like offer to pay for the first date, tests, right? It's always been like test. Yeah. Like just to see if they're gonna prove me wrong, right? Just to see like if they're not gonna take on, not prove me wrong, but like just to see if they are trustworthy or like worthy to be in a relationship that I can lean on, like I could depend on you. Because it's not that like we always want to be independent, no, but that's survival skills. Like I have to know like how to like provide for my, like I have to, because just in case you do walk out on my life, like I need to be make sure that I'm good, right? So like it is hard to like drop down that wall when you're dating someone that looks like the men that left your life, right? The men that you see you cannot depend on. And it's not fair to you guys, but like it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Like I have picked guys through tests, y'all. I have.
Yeah.
I'm real curious about Amy's test right now.
Yeah, I feel like every woman with like a similar experience, like just not having that great foundation and those good examples do like put men through tests. Like you have to prove to me like that you will exceed this low expectation I have.
Now you have any? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna.
I think for me, it's just because I always think of like my dad. I never really think about anybody else, but he wasn't with my mother when he got with her. So it's kind of like you need to at least be committed to me first of all. And then it's like you just up and leave and then you just have the kids with someone. Like it's just crazy to me how now I have to put up this wall. It's not even like a brick wall. Like it's 100 walls at this point. Like I literally have to make sure I protect myself. Like Annie said, survival skills. I'm the person that will protect myself before anybody else. Like I don't care if we're in a relationship or if we're even friends. Like I'm gonna protect myself because that's what I know how to do at this point. Like I don't know how to even fully give myself to someone else like in a relationship because I only learned how to be in love with myself and focus on myself. I've only been independent because my mom has told me to be independent. I've only been the person that wants to go get something done myself instead of relying on someone else to go get it done for me because my mom told me that, literally. So if you come into my life and you think that I'm going to give my all completely just off grip, it's not going to happen because I've gone through so much stuff with so many different people and so many different men that at this point I'm like, why should I even give you the little bit of what I got? I need to ease into it. I'm not going to just fully just jump in the water. No, I'm gonna put my feet, test the water, come back out. You know, I need to test the waters before I can even just jump into the water. So that's a little eulogy or whatever you want to call it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you know what? the fact that we bring about, you know, Annie, and she says she's put these people through tests, right? And Naya mentioned these 100 walls. It's not just one wall. So those are like they're two of the same saying, but in different type of context, right? And I think when we think of that, it's also the fact that we want to protect us. Like, I don't want to be crying. I don't want to be sad. Like, I want to be the best person that I can be, right? And I need to make sure that if I'm allowing you into my life, that you have the worth to stay in it, right? That you have the worth I can give parts of me. I feel comfortable doing that without regretting anything that I've done, right? And so, like, I just like that you guys are just bringing this up, because Hamed knows, I tell him all the time, I'm an independent woman, you know. I gotta make it work. I gotta make it work. I mean, but if he wants to do something, right, I'm all for it. But my mother has hammered it into me, like, to be independent and never rely on no man at any point in time of your life, because these things will happen. And you see, it's like, and we brought up that whole fact of like, you have to reframe your own, like, it's up to you to take that agency and say, you know what, like, yes, I can be independent, but I can also have this man in my life that may want to help me do these things if need be. Like, and then that's our ego, right? It's like, it's okay. Like, let that go. It's okay. He's there, and that's fine. But I'm still able to do the things. Even if I ask him to do something for me, I know I'm still able to do it, but it's just the simple fact that I'm allowing him to do that for me, right? And so it's like having those personality or character traits to get to that point of like, that's how I have to reframe my body and the ways that I've been taught and how I want to move forward. Because as Annie said before, we do have to teach this to our kids, right? We are thinking about the future, right? We have to push all of these negative traits about Black people in general to a better, more positive aspect. We already see what's going on, right? So like, we need to think about that, like, from here on out.
Totally agree with you, Jimmy. He's like gold.
Yeah.
Like I agree with you, but like, breaking curses, we're going back to that because we've seen our mothers go through some stuff, right? And we probably don't want to go through the same stuff they're going through, like you said, right? Mm-hmm. And we want to allow men to be men, and I quote that because, we want to allow men to be men and to lead, right? But it's hard to trust someone to lead when you see, like, in your past that person couldn't lead, right? Like, when you put your eggs in one basket, like, what happens when someone takes that basket, right? The whole basket, like, forget the egg, the whole basket. Like, it's like, it's exhausting doing it all by yourself, right? It's exhausting. We like, it's exhausting. We don't want to do it all by ourselves, but we have to. But we have to, because
no, go on, Annie. I know.
I'm frustrated because like Black women have to be independent. Like, it wasn't a choice for us, right?
Yeah.
It was never a choice from us. Like, I don't want to bring up, like, back to slavery. Like, of course we know. Or like where families was separated all the time, right? And even like today, like, families are separated all the time. Like I can't say like Black men are trash without recognizing what they go through in life. Mass incarceration, I get it. Racism, we get it. But on the other hand, we go through it with you. Black women go through it with you. We don't want to be head of household all the time. Like, we don't want that pressure all the time. We don't want to be independent all the time. But what we do want is someone we can trust to take some of this off of us, right? Like,
I feel you, Annie. I'm exhausted.
It's exhausting. Trying to be a boss, all this, it's exhausting.
Yeah, let me sit on the couch for once, right?
You have something to say? Kia?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I thought Jim was continuing. Yeah, but absolutely, like, as you all brought up, like, we've been, like, our moms made sure that they instilled in us, like, you gotta be able to sustain yourself. You have to be independent. And, you know, I'm not a mother, but, and none of us are, but especially women with children, like, you know, men can get up and walk out anytime. And it's been proven that it's just been a pattern with Black men just leaving their kids. The mom, it falls all back on that single Black mother to hold it down. Like, you know, unfortunately, that's something that we've all just have instilled in us, like, can I really rely on this person? Like, what, it's like, what if a lot of the time. So we have to put that helmet on, and there's a lot of pressure, like Annie was saying. But that's just something that we have to do to make sure we sustain ourselves and we survive. Yeah. Especially for the moms, make sure their kids good too. Shout out to the single Black moms.
For real, man, it's hard out here.
Right, but and then on that point, right? I think like when Black men say like they don't date Black women, it hurts more because like if you are raised by like Black women and that single mother, right, that have put her body on the line for you, that have like went beyond for you, like Black women love y'all, love Black men too, of course, but like Black women have constantly put their bodies, their minds on the line for Black men. Constantly show up. Yeah. Constantly show up even when y'all don't want to fight for an issue that's around y'all, but we there on the front lines fighting for you. So when you say like I don't date Black women, and then you put Black women down and call us out our names in front of the world, it's not even like just in front of the Black community. No, it's in front of the world. Like you embarrass us in front of the world.
Yeah, it's a slap in the face,
right? It's a slap in the face. It's hurtful.
It is.
Because I would never go like outside like the Black community and trash y'all.
I can't.
Like I'm not sitting around like my white colleagues trashing Black men. Oh no. Like I'm gonna defend y'all to the death of me. I am, and that's a fault with Black women too. Like why are we doing this? Like do we constantly like come and to defend Black men constantly? Like we never give up on y'all. Why? Like that's a question for the panel. When we feel like Black men don't defend Black women, like we constantly feel that way, right?
Yeah.
You bring up a good point though. Like the disrespect is not even in private; it's public, and like they broadcast that on social media. Everything is just like damn. But we're constantly the first person in line when something's wrong to defend that man, and it's not reciprocated. But absolutely, the disrespect is very loud and very public.
I knew that's a that question is really good. I mean, I feel like you want to write that down for like part 2.
Yeah, listen, my brain is working. I'm going back through this and jotting down all the gems.
Question for you, Annie. That's a great question. That is a great question. I guess we have a couple more questions to go through. If anybody have any more things to chime in, Naya, if you have anything else to say, now's the time. But we can, if not, we can move on to the next question that we have on the docket.
Yeah, I mean, so we kind of touched on it a bit. We talked about where the trash behavior is learned, right? There's figures all around us that are kind of getting in there and making us think a certain way. And there's also the fact that we have to take agency over ourselves. So it's also on part of us to do something for Black men to think about what they're doing on their own, right? You listen, y'all not immature. You have to figure it out, right? At some point in your life. So I just want to dive a little deeper into this whole idea of what can Black men do better, specifically. So we're gonna really dive into the specifics of what they can do to be better.
Wait, before we do that, I'm sorry, can we just like expand a little bit more on like where the trash behavior is learned? Because while I was thinking about these questions, I was like, it's of course it starts at home for some, but there's other influences, and I have to say pop culture. So it's one, like listen to the music that we listen to, and just how they degrade women in it. Movies, TV shows, just how these toxic relationships are in these productions, and we sitting there cheering it on, like, yeah, I can relate. That's exactly how it happens, right? So we kind of made this exception to it, like, oh yeah, that's what we expect, is cool, whatever, it's funny. And then men and their male peers like giving them the pass, like, oh yeah, bro, blah blah blah, whatever the case may be, just giving them the go and the pass to disrespect Black women.
Okay.
I agree with Z on that. No, especially like media plays a big role on how like us as a Black community we see each other. Like we trust media more than we trust ourselves. Like for real. Like what we see on TV and what's portrayed, just like the narrow stereotypes about like Black women and baby mamas.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like, how are you guys gonna get mad at the parent who stayed though?
How you calling Michelle Obama Barack Obama's baby mother? That's his wife. Stop it.
Yeah.
But that's a topic we need to have in the Black community. How like media is portrayed and narrated through the Black men for the Black community.
Okay. All right.
I think they're looking at our podcast episodes coming up. Stay out of our information, all right?
Social media is just as toxic, for real. Like,
I mean, for me, I'll definitely say pop culture is definitely one. But I'm not putting Gemise under the bus, right? But she did bring up a point where, do you guys believe in some way, somehow, not saying that it's true, that Black women, even if it's intentionally or not, like somehow they're also playing a part in how like men treat women, right? Like women who just take the insult, like the abuse, or who just okay, I have to stay with this particular man because I have no other choice, or like I said Jamise, sorry, Zakia, you mentioned pop culture and the music. Black women are turning up to the same music that are being thrown out there, right? They enjoy that, right? And is it those particular things that in a way positively reinforces men to think, oh, women like this shit too? I'm gonna keep doing it. Like, do
absolutely.
you think Black women can also play a role in men's behavior?
Absolutely. I feel like we also have to be accountable. You're right. We are turning up to disrespect. but but again, like, it's pushed on us so much. It's all we see from media. It's all we're listening to on the radio. It's just so much of it that we're consuming. It's kind of like we made it acceptable in a sense. And that's the problem. Like, we need to start, how we go so hard for everything else. Like, why are we not bring the cancel culture back for that kind of behavior and those kind of things? Like, but yeah, we have to also take accountability for how we have sheltered Black men, and also approved or made them seek some, or think it's appropriate, and gave them some kind of approval that the disrespect is tolerable if it's not directly us. Like, he talking about whoever. Like, I don't care. That don't got nothing to do with me. Like, and just getting out of that.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else think about any other influences that Black men may have that may promote this behavior? Nobody else? Can I? No. All right. So I think we can.
I'm not really sure how to answer that.
Okay.
But what was I going to say? Wow, brain fart. Anyway, I think also, like, the music part of it, I think also the music videos. Like, you don't really see Black women in music videos. And if you do, they're like in the back or doing something, like, they're not being at the front of the line, being in the camera. They're not doing anything sexual, because every music video I've seen has always been like sexualized or something. Yeah. Like, the women are half-ass naked, excuse my language. But it's kind of hard for me to even be like, I mean, the songs that, I fall victim to it sometimes. Like, the songs be nice sometimes, but the lyrics, it's saying stuff different. So it's kind of like, okay, well, you can't really, I mean, you can't, let me see how to frame this. So it's like you always find a way to say, oh yeah, that's a bad song, but it slaps. Like, the beat go hard. So it's kind of like you're making excuses for something knowing that you already know it's wrong. So it's kind of like, why do you even do that? So I think we do need to work on that, but it's not going to be overnight. Like, obviously some people are more ignorant than others. They act like they act oblivious to stuff. So it's going to be a little bit longer for the culture itself to get over that.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
That brings a good point, especially the videos. It's never of women doing anything productive or, it's always us, with money getting thrown on they backside. I'm gonna say that. Liquor poured on them, like all kinds of craziness. Like it's never anything positive, right? And also us allowing men to call us out of our names, like the B word, for example. It's like almost in every song I hear. I don't know about anybody else, but yeah, just we have made it acceptable, and we do take partial, credit for that, and hopefully, as I said, of course, it's not going to happen overnight, but we really need to start making it non-acceptable.
Okay.
Agreed. And also, we need to address struggle love in films. Yeah, and stop like romanticizing struggle love on social media. Like, I feel like we allow like these celebrities and influencers to dictate what love should look like and be like in our lives as Black folks. Like what Black love should look like. Like Black love should not look like he's cheated on me 100 million times and I cheated on him 100 million times, but we worked it out and we're together and we have struggle love. Like it shouldn't be like that.
Any like the simple life is boring. Like I don't want somebody relationship where there's no drama, where I can't like imagine myself strangling somebody because he's like hitting me. Like what do you say to that?
Lord, that's so toxic. It's so toxic. Like, can we change that narrative? Like, please, it's unhealthy. It is unhealthy. It really
a lot of these celebrities don't deserve the fame they have. Like, why are we still cheering and supporting Future? He headed a toxic community, and men are sharing his posts like, yeah, that's my mood. I'm in my bag like Future. It's like, things like that. Like, why are we cheering this kind of behavior on?
Yeah. Okay.
We got a lot of work to do.
Anybody have anything else to add before we move on to how we can keep men accountable? Nothing else? Okay. All right, Gemise.
Yeah. So really, we just want to go into being very specific. So something that someone could even do right after they have watched this episode. What can they do to hold their fellow Black men accountable? Right? What can they do? Okay,
and or Black women.
I think we said it before. Check your friends, check your homeboys, check your homegirls, check your people in your circle. Like it starts with the people that are closest to you, right? Even if you have to check your uncles that don't treat Black women well or any woman well. Like if your uncle is dying around, like check him too. It's like, how would you like if a man treated me that way, right? Mm-hmm. You wouldn't like that at all. So check the people in your circle. Mm-hmm. Like if you feel in your heart it's wrong what they're saying, check them. Because if you allow them to continue it, they're gonna go outside of your circle and project that to the world. Okay. So step one, check your people.
Okay. Should make that a hashtag.
A hashtag?
That's facts. Like
these people throwing in gems.
It really is important to check first and foremost the people that you are around with, and then secondly the people that you don't really know that well, but that you see are have these kind of behaviors. They need to be checked too, stranger or not, honestly, right? So yeah, definitely checking them on those type of things, as well as let's stop pushing and sharing like this toxic content. Like there's a lot of people, like I said, that really don't deserve the platform that they have because they use it irresponsibly. So us sharing their content is reaching more people. And you know, that's what's keeping this circling. So stopping that, like let's share some positive stuff, like rather than always sharing negative things for laughs. Like everything's not a joke for real.
Okay.
I would say the one thing that someone should do is check yourself. Like also check your people, but check yourself. Like you can walk out into the world and be like, oh, that person did something wrong. But then if you do the same exact thing, you need to be able to know that I did it wrong as well. I need to, so next time, instead of calling that girl a tree short thought, I'm gonna call a young lady. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just, you know, go after someone because of what they're doing. And you need to also just think about what you're doing. So don't say, oh, she's a thought, because you can also be a thought. So you just need to figure out, you know, you're equal. So don't just be calling people something that you do also.
Yeah.
Lead by example, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Annie brought up this one point, and I think me and Naya have spoken about this a lot, how we try to, when we see something happening and we, you know, we try to explain to our family members or someone that's close to us, and it was like, if it was me, would you want someone doing that to me? Would you like to see someone else treating me that way? And you'll get people that are like, no, of course not. But then they still do the same thing. So like, did you even take it seriously? Like, am I your sister? Am I your friend? Do you care about me deeply enough to actually mean what you just said to me when I asked you that? When I told you, if someone was doing this to me, how would you feel about it? You wouldn't like it. I would be crying to you, explaining to you all the things that they have done to me. That's what she's doing. That's what she is doing. So you have to understand, like, that's the whole part of like you even feeling sympathy and empathy for her, right? She doesn't want to experience this. So why are you doing it in the first place? And I'm telling you, if it was me, what would you do? So it's like for people, they have to take in that language. And I think that's really hard for them to do as well.
Yeah. One thing to add that I believe men can practice is just take like a moment, sit down and reflect on like, because this whole conversation started with us, right? So just being more emotionally intelligent, like learning the skills. It's not, emotional intelligence isn't something you just like pick up from birth, something that you have to learn about and be curious about, you know. Practice, you know, like I would say deconstructing what masculinity means truly to you. Doesn't mean like you have, I know it means like be the provider, protect the people that you love, but like the other side, like, oh, you got to be the biggest dude, the strongest dude in the world. You got to like, you know, just I would say redefine what masculinity is and like try to find a more healthier way to portray who you are as a man and what that means in terms of like in like society itself. And so taking the time and a moment to like really reflect on your relationships. Are you treating people nicely? Are you, you know, caring about the people that you say you care about? I know this can apply to everybody. Not everybody has even the interest to like think about it because their ego just clouds their judgment. Their ego like blinds them from how they're like mistreating people because they themselves believe that they're doing the right thing at every moment, at every time. But take the moment, like talk to the ladies in your life. How can I be a better man? Am I treating you like disgustingly? Am I treating you not the way you want to be treated? What am I doing wrong? And just finding that higher level of learning and like camaraderie between you and like the people that you claim that you care about, you know. I just think that would be one way to go, but you know, it takes the person to actually, you know, go down that journey. Yeah.
I'm happy you mentioned that. Segue. Because I wanted to say like a lot of, you know, Black women also we touched on it, but we also contribute to it. And just speaking on masculinity in a man, like what we expect of a man, and these unrealistic things that we put on men, like, oh, you're a man, you shouldn't cry. Like, come on, like, we really need to stop raising our Black sons like that. Like, it's okay for you to be sensitive. It's okay for you to show emotion. You're human, right? So things like that, and also just not boxing all men into one category, just one understanding of what we are. And that could be anything: behavior, appearance, physical, etc. Like, I feel like that is really toxic as well. And it will encourage, like, oh, I'm not supposed to cry, whatever, I'm gonna be tough, etc. And and what are they doing to be tough? Like, that's disrespect is how they see being tough, right? And that's kind of what's creating the cycle. So yes, letting our men be unapologetically themselves. Yeah. Like, if you feel like you're an emotional person, so what? Like, that's you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that, Annie. Listen, I love tears. Bawl your eyes out. Like, I want to see it. I think we all do. What's the problem with that? Look at Annie. Annie, are you confused? Are you with me?
What you gotta say?
Annie, like, nah, he a punk.
No, absolutely not. Stop. Bring the handkerchief. Don't do that.
I'm playing. They're gonna be going off for Annie in the comments. I'm playing, y'all.
Like, no, I agree with that. I feel like we raise Black boys to be men automatically, right? Like, Black women, like, they're your sons, not your partners, not your husbands. Okay, like, we need to allow kids to be kids and boys to be boys and have emotions, and don't just like as soon as they cry, tell them to man up. What does that mean? Like, they're 8. Let them cry. Let them cry. On that note too, like, we need to stop over sexualizing girls and boys when they're so young. Like, let kids be kids. So totally agree with you guys on that. And I also like the first point that Janaya made, and I'm going back, but like checking yourself. I like that. And Hamed, you also touched on that, on checking yourself. And like, maybe we should all just do like evaluations on ourselves.
Of course.
Like we do at a job. Like, evaluate yourself in your life. And like, I love another tip, like conversations like this. Like, I love this. Like, keep the conversation going. Love this. Like, we need to start.
Shout out to the host.
Right, plug, right?
Not the host. I said the host. In case anybody heard that wrong. Not the host.
Keep the conversation going. Like, we need to start talking across the board to each other and not at each other.
Of course.
Right? Like, we need to stop feeling attacked all the time and actually listen to like criticism, but of course it needs to be like constructive, of course, like, and not just like blank criticism. Like, tell me how I can improve. Like, and also just be kinder to each other. Like, we are, as Black men and Black women, we already have so many enemies out there. Like, we don't need to be each other's enemies in the household. Like, it's already so much going out, like, that's so much against us out there that we do not need to be against each other constantly. Like, let's have these conversations. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, Annie, I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, because that was the whole purpose around this, right? Like, I want anyone, no matter how limited your education is, no matter however you feel about yourself, that you're incapable of having a talk like this, that you are able to have that discussion with anyone you're sitting next to. If you're on the corner selling some weed, listen, have that conversation. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not judging. We're not judging. We just want anyone. We want literally anyone to sit down and say, yo, bro, you know what you're doing is it just don't feel right. Like, it's not good. You know, use whatever language you have to have this conversation, no matter how bad it may come out, right? And we have to be, the thing is with us, we have to be more open-minded, right? When people say something to us, we may not like it straight off the bat, right? Because it's coming at you and who you are as a character. But at that point, you have to really think about it. Like, am I really doing what I intend to do? Am I becoming the person, the man, the woman, whatever you want to describe yourself as, or what category you place yourself in? Are you the person that you want to be? It doesn't matter what category you're in. Are you the person that you want to be from here on out? right? And you have to do a better evaluation of yourself. And I mean, I'm all for, I think we spoke about that. Like, just the thing is with the Black community, we're not together so much all the time. We need to get back to that, right? It's more like, yeah, I see you across the street. You know what? Tell her that her hair looks nice, or tell him that, you know what? I hope you're having a good day today. You know, those simple little things can move someone just across the room, and they'll be like, wow, I never thought. And even if they don't take it nicely, they're like, okay, and whatever. But at least you went that step. At least you went that step and said, you know what? I just wanted to make sure that I'm uplifting my community every single day and every single time when I see someone that I think is representative of who I am and where I want them to be. I want them to be somewhere great, right?
I agree. We need to be a little kinder. It goes such a long way. Like, you're right. Being kind goes such a long way. Like, you would never know how you're going to change someone's life by that one comment you made, right? Yep. So I totally agree.
But yeah, absolutely, on just having these safe spaces to have these conversations. It's healthy to have these conversations, and whether it's on a platform or not, like whoever that you feel comfortable with, like getting these thoughts and expressing these emotions too, like you should, like, and you know, with a little split in your hand, your third eye might open. It makes for a better conversation. Little drinky drink, you know.
Yeah.
And
I can't wait until episode 2. I got some ideas, you know.
Some ideas, okay.
I got some ideas on what y'all gonna be doing episode 2. I can't wait to hear what these Black men got to say about us. I might have to meditate first, like, for real.
Yeah, and also just like keep in mind, like, we know that these conversations are uncomfortable, but with that it comes growth, right?
Yep.
So it's okay to feel uncomfortable and have these conversations because they are needed, and that's the only way we're going to heal from it. Another plug, Black community, go to therapy. It's time. We all need it. It is time. Like, let's start healing. Like, please.
Oh gosh, Annie's looking down our podcast episodes. I gotta get her out my box. Now, you got anything to say? I love just looking at all of these beautiful.
Now you're chilling. Right now. Now you're chilling.
No, but seriously, how many of you have any other questions? I have one to end the conversation off, but I don't know if we're done or not. That's where I'm trying to gauge this, right?
Oh, well, this conversation could go on for years.
Yeah.
if we're being honest, but no, for real. Thank you guys for, of course, getting us on this platform to have this conversation. A lot of these conversations are uncomfortable, but they need to be heard. Like, we can't change things that's not spoken out and said. So.
Yeah. I just have one last thing. I think that we need to, because Annie brought this up, or either Zakia, one of you, or probably all of you brought it up in the beginning, right? Zakia mainly brought up this word of trash, right? And so I want to leave this conversation with, we can specifically name Black men are what? Instead of calling them trash, what are they? And framing that in a sense of, what do we want from them? So I'll start to say, like, Black men are, you can say, disrespectful, and I want them to be respectful of my body, right? So we can name it instead of calling it something that it's exactly not, right? We need to name it specifically. What is it? So if anyone, look, I'll let you, each of you, just tell us one nice little framing to a little tidbit that people need to start framing of changing this phrase, and then what it should look like in the future.
Yeah. As soon as you said that, a little light bulb went off in my head. I would say Black men are work in progresses, and I want them to be okay with growth. Like, it's not good to be stagnant in anything in life. Like, be okay with growth and accepting, positive reinforcement from outsiders or your peers. Like, if they see something that you're doing is incorrect, be okay with having that conversation and getting that corrective action.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yes.
Mic drop on that one. Like, that was good.
Maybe.
I would say Black men are lost and in need of guidance.
Okay.
So I'm just going back to as you grow up. So a lot of people don't have guidance. A lot of people don't have someone that they can turn to give them that positive role model figure to guide them through the world and tell them like, oh, this is how you treat a woman. This is how you treat other people. This is what you do. So I think without that guidance, they are lost. I don't want to say that they're completely trash, but you know, there are some traits that they get from other people that can make them trash. So they need that guidance from a Black man who is being a king in a way to show them how to be that king. So like they're kings in progress, should I say.
Yeah, I like this work in progress. Look at that, Kia. You over here just they take
and in fact, we need to stop telling all of them that they kings because they don't have king behavior yet. But they need to go towards king behavior.
You know what a king looks like.
Annie? Take your time.
I don't know, I'm thinking. I think I have to disagree with Zakia and Naya. Like Black men have potential, right? And I think like once they know who they are and begin to love themselves, they're going to be able to reflect that onto Black women. So once they work on themselves and figure out what love is, I think it's going to be projected out onto Black women. So you guys have potential.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Beautiful. You're naming positive features to our Black men out there, all right?
I have one. I think I would say Black men are unheard. I feel like it can be the most trash individual, but I feel like there has to be a reason or like a series of events that led him to follow on that path. And what Andy mentioned earlier, like mental health is definitely a thing I feel like we need to keep pushing in the Black community. And if men, I mean, we can't speak for their, childhoods because slavery, right? The plight of the Black person, generational trauma, like it can definitely affect the household, how parents treat their kids, especially with that generational trauma in mind, and like what it means to truly raise a Black child in this toxic country. And therapy. Black men unheard and they need therapy. And I feel like we need to just promote it amongst ourselves. And I feel like that would be a step in the right direction.
Everybody needs therapy. But can I just say something towards what you said, like Black men aren't unheard? Because I saw something as well. Like I think Lil Durk had tweeted something or shared something. He was like, I don't got no one to talk to, so I talk to the streets. But he's in a relationship that's very public, right? And that could have several meanings to it. But just like you're in a relationship that's very public, like why do you still feel like you're unheard? Like you can't speak to your significant other? Like that can't be that one person that you can install that kind of trust with to have these kind of conversations. Like you guys could probably touch a little bit more on your next episode, but that's a question that I want to leave with.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
I mean, honestly, just we throw out some disclaimers and stuff, but honestly, Black men, Black sons, you are beautiful, precious, and everything under the sun. Okay, we rooting for you. You just don't. You're not listening. You're not hearing us. We are in every possible way. We are right here, just making sure you just reach the potential that we already see in you. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Yes, Bronx Erykah Badu.
So much, guys. I almost cried when I was sharing the story about like my past, but like this episode has been better than what I expected. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. Unfortunately, Jasmine wasn't able to come, but hopefully she can watch the episode and like we can hear from her and her thoughts But I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like this was really great. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, exactly. I want to thank you guys for having us and having this conversation, even though sometimes it's been uncomfortable. And thank you for putting your feelings out there. We see you, Hamed. Like we've seen it, we see you, and we appreciate it. And thank you, Gemise, for you doing your thing, girl. I appreciate it.
Back
and I can't
flowers while people can smell them for real.
Right. Always, you deserve all your accolades. Remember that, y'all. But this is great, and I look forward to seeing part 2. And I hope you have a part 3 and invite us back. Like
this might be a back and forth continuing conversation at this point, because it's never going to end. I see.
But yeah, thank you for having enough confidence in us to be on one of your first episodes for real, and also just being us all being transparent. I felt like that's really what pushed this conversation to be great.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Oh, don't forget, just type in your social medias in the chat. And
okay.
The video, put them in the description so people can.
Yeah, you hear that, audience? We're gonna start sharing some positivity. I'm gonna still turn up and listen to Lucy, but let me stop.
He already let us know her clubhouse. Listen, Zakia, I'm thinking of something. I might have to hit you up as a moderator. All right?
Please do. I'm ready to talk.
Annie, you on Clubhouse yet?
No, I'm an old lady. I am. I'm so far behind on technology and social media.
You want an invite?
Like Clubhouse is like what? Like I heard it's like LinkedIn and and like.
I don't think it's people are treating it like LinkedIn because there's a lot of like networking going on. But like it's like audio based social media platform. So you're literally creating group chats with just your voice. You can speak, you can invite speakers on, and you're literally just talking, no video, no nothing. So think of it in a way of like Zoom, but you can join in any they call it halls, Zakia, or hallways or whatever.
Rooms.
You're literally speaking, you're listening, speaking. It's like a bunch of live podcasts, basically.
As I say that, it's like a podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
I might hop on. We'll see.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be a conversation open to the public. I can't wait to see what, we let you guys share it. As long as, they watch the episode, their brains started twitching and ticking. I'm hoping,
All right.
All right.
Are free to go? Right?
Yeah.
Like we getting dismissed. Okay. Thank you, Professor. But thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your.
You too. All right.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.